Proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you. Kmart, the saving place. And Kodak Batteries, the official batteries of the 1988 Olympic Games. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports.
Has been paid to ABC by American Airlines, a proud sponsor of the ABC telecast of the 1988 Winter Olympics.
She's a floating city. Population 5,600.
Hey, we've got a Russian bomber coming in. Closing on us fast.
Supercarrier, coming this March.
Topping our news tonight, questions about travel expenses run up by a university vice president, an exclusive report.
We will hear St. Paul residents describe their problems with a private club in their neighborhood.
And live from Calgary, I'm Mark Curtis. A tough night for U.S. speed skaters.
Very much so. I'm Wendy Lubavitch. We will also have one of the happier moments of these 1988 Winter Games as our exclusive coverage continues from Western Canada. Next on The Update.
There must be over 100 car dealers in the Twin City area. You have to wonder, why do people choose one over another? People are choosing Midway Chevrolet to save money on trucks with cash rebates up to $750 from Chevrolet. You save on S10 pickups, S10 Blazers, and the all-new full-size Chevy pickup. I'll see to it that you're satisfied with your new purchase at Midway Chevrolet. You have my word on that.
Midway Chev, University Avenue, St. Paul.
Close your eyes for a moment, because we'd like you to imagine a fresh, buttery English muffin topped with tomato slices and a tangy cheese sauce. Hey, getting closed. Okay, and fresh eggs and bacon and sausage links. Look, is this what you've been imagining? Our new English Grand Slam? Good. Now imagine where you can get this and 3 other great Grand Slam breakfasts. Here.
Highland is having a Moonlight Madness sale with big savings, but it's only for a few short hours. With traffic backed up, I'm getting a jump on everyone.
Get this Hot Point super capacity heavy-duty automatic washer for just $238. Friday and Saturday only, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Highland Superstore's Moonlight Madness sale.
You're watching KSTP-TV, Minnesota's News Channel 5.
Live from Minnesota's News Channel, KSTP Channel 5. Stan Turner, Ruth Spencer, Dave Dahl, and Mark Curtis bring you the Eyewitness News Update.
And good evening, everyone. Acts of murder in Rochester, Minnesota, and in the Minneapolis suburb of Crystal lead our news tonight.
First, in Rochester, just south of the Twin Cities, 4 members of a family were found dead tonight, apparent victims of murder early this morning. A mother, father, and 2 children. Their names have not yet been released, but the sheriff is saying that they were apparently killed by a large, sharp object. 2 male members of the family, 16 and 19 years old, are missing tonight. We do have a crew in Rochester, and we'll have more on this story from them in later newscasts. Crystal police won't say yet whether they've established a motive for the ambush-like murder of a Spring Park businessman. Shortly before dawn this morning, 32-year-old Dirk Van Slooten was shot 6 times by an unidentified gunman. Police say he was leaving his girlfriend's home when the shots rang out. Van Slooten was president of the Danawin Real Estate Company in St. Paul.
There is more controversy tonight on how the University of Minnesota spends its money. Our 5 Inside investigative unit has obtained documents showing a top university vice president has spent thousands of dollars over the past 18 months traveling to his home in Pittsburgh at university expense. Vice President of Academic Affairs Roger Benjamin says there's nothing improper about the expenditures. 5 Inside reporter Tom Garrison tells us more.
It was just 1 week ago that University of Minnesota officials were apologizing for somehow spending over $1 million to renovate the university president's home without ever getting approval for at least half those expenditures. Leading the apologies to the Board of Regents was University Vice President Roger Benjamin.
As provost of the Twin Cities campus, I apologize.
But Benjamin is making no apologies for records obtained by Five Inside which show the university has spent nearly $15,000 since August of 1986 to fly him to Pittsburgh to visit his wife and children who live there. Vice President Benjamin told Five Inside the trips, some 50 flights to date, were a condition of his employment, guaranteed him by University President Ken Keller. Keller's office confirms the arrangement, but other school officials say they have no record of it.
Was that part of the understanding when he was hired that he would be able to do that?
I think so. There is no written document between President Keller and Vice President Roger Benjamin.
Vice President Benjamin declined to comment on camera, but he did tell Five Inside that all of his travel expenses the university has paid for are, in his words, entirely reasonable. And Benjamin's trips to Pittsburgh at university expense will continue.
There was no restrictions on how often he could travel or how much it should be.
U of M spokesmen say President Keller's discretionary funds will pay for flights to Pittsburgh through June of this year. Tom Garrison, Five Inside.
Now, the chairman of the University of Minnesota Board of Regents says that he was unaware of the agreement to pay for Benjamin's flights home to Pittsburgh, unaware of it until today. Chairman David Lebedoff says he has high regard for Vice President Benjamin, but the Regents will have to look at the travel expenditures, he says, right away. And Tom Garrison will have more on this for us tomorrow night.
A private club in St. Paul will close at the end of business tomorrow night and remain closed over the weekend. That club will be closed because there was a shooting there last month. Kevin Berger reports the community required the club to shut its doors if violence erupted there.
It's not unusual to see police cars parked outside the People's Choice on Selby Avenue in St. Paul. Last year, police responded to 56 separate calls to the club. The neighborhood tired of the fights and trouble and drew up an agreement requiring the club to be more orderly. It also requires the People's Choice to close if there's a shooting or stabbing on or around the premises. One of the club's owners, Leroy Daniels, allegedly shot a man last month. So the club will be closed this weekend.
I believe you have to set the standards as to what you will have or what you will not have in your place. And if you can't maintain that standard, then maybe you shouldn't be there.
Merle Harris owns the building sitting on the corner opposite the People's Choice.
I don't know whether the People's Choice is responsible for all the activity on this corner or not. I do know it's on this corner.
Inside the People's Choice, a sign warns people they will be thrown out for fighting. Club owner Leroy Daniels points out the club's agreement with the neighborhood requires a 24-hour shutdown. He says the club will close for twice that time in a good faith gesture. While insisting his club is orderly, Daniels acknowledges a crime problem on the corner.
Our biggest problem is, ma'am, is dope dealing. We're dealing with the people inside, but we can't control them outside. We can bar them out, but we can't stop them from coming on the corner.
It's estimated the weekend shutdown of the People's Choice will cost its owners $1,000. But those owners say they hope it will serve as a gesture to the community that they want to cooperate. Kevin Berger, Channel 5 Eyewitness News, St. Paul.
And St. Paul is also the scene of a long-running investigation into organized prostitution. And now DFL State Representative Ken Clute of Moorhead reportedly is cooperating with the police in that investigation in return for some immunity from charges. That's according to a St. Paul lawyer who's working with Clute. Clute, you may recall, was convicted of propositioning an undercover policewoman last year.
Fire destroyed a vacant apartment building in Minneapolis this evening. Roger Sealing lives next door. He says the windows literally blew out of their panes, and the flames, he said, leaped toward the rooftop.
From my bedroom windows that face that south side, I could feel the change in temperature getting a lot hotter as the flames broke those windows.
Nobody was hurt there tonight on that DuPont Avenue South address. The cause of the fire still not known at this time. This is a music video by the rock group Motley Crue. The song is titled Live Wire, but a 12-year-old Florida boy says it almost killed him. You can see that the lead singer's legs are on fire, a stunt young Brian Tucker tried to imitate. He was lucky. He was able to jump clear and into a bathtub before burning to death.
Maybe the mothers and fathers should screen what the kids are watching more. Watch those videos, watched MTV, sorry. But anything like that they could get this from. before somebody really gets hurt.
Brian Tucker tonight is in fair condition in the hospital with burns from his legs to his stomach. The deadline nears for a possible strike at Northwest Airlines. We have an update on that for you next.
And then in just a minute, live via News Star will take you for another special trip to the Winter Olympics. We're going to find out what a Minnesota delegation is doing about plans for a local Olympiad in 1996.
Sunday evening after 8, you'll meet a woman who gives new meaning to temptation. Is it you?
Oui, c'est moi.
Dodge Dakota 4x4. When you consider that it comes loaded with the best truck warranty on or off the road, more available payload than any competitive compact 4x4 in the country, and a fuel-injected V6 engine S10 and Ranger charge extra for, it's easy to see. Only one size 4x4 has it all. It's gotta be the mid-size Dodge Dakota.
Save up to $2,400 with cash back and prospector package discounts on selected trucks in stock.
Highland is having a Moonlight Madness sale. The savings are big, but they'll only last a few short hours. So I've made arrangements to get to Highland quickly.
Get this Emerson VHS video recorder with wireless remote, just $188. Friday and Saturday only, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Now I know it's around here somewhere.
Highland Superstore's Moonlight Madness sale.
It is time now to bring home to you some of the excitement of the Winter Olympics up there in Calgary.
So we turn to Wendy Lubavitch and Mark Curtis live via News Star with the largest group of local TV news staffers there.
Good evening.
Hello to you, Stan and Ruth. You know, sort of a disappointing night for U.S. speed skaters here in Calgary.
You know, Wendy, tonight was the night that many people thought the U.S. might win its first gold medal of the Games, but it looks like America now will have to go without a medal, period, in speed skating. On Sunday, all of the U.S. men had problems in the men's 500 meters. Nick Thomas, as you might recall, finished 8th. But there was renewed hope, renewed optimism tonight because the 1,000 meters was supposed to be Thomas's strongest event. He had a great start. In fact, at the halfway mark, he seemed to be on a world record pace. But then he started to fade and came in with a time not even close to what he's capable of, 1:14.71, which officially is 18th place. So not a good night for Thomas or for Roseville's Tom Cushman, who finished 17th. And believe it or not, speed skater Dan Jansen, who you might recall fell last Sunday in the 500, fell again tonight. So no good news for any of the U.S. speed skaters tonight. Coming up, we'll have pictures of all of those things. Also, Brian Boitano, the U.S. figure skater tonight in the short program, and believe it or not, twin spring training.
Boitano did very well tonight.
He sure did.
Good skater. Also, you know, several Minnesotans have arrived here in Calgary with the hopes of all this, the Olympics, happening in the Twin Cities about 8 years from now. Mike Binkley is standing by live in downtown Calgary, and he's going to tell us more about this big dream. Mike.
Well, it's kind of more than a dream. You know, as spectacular as all of this has been here in Calgary, the folks from the Twin Cities who are up here in the Minnesota delegation have been walking around down here saying, hey, we can do this too with the Summer Games of '96. And so as these games go on, they're flying up some influential people who have the power to back up their plans with money. They're arriving in shifts on the Hubbard Broadcasting plane to be taken out on the town by the Minnesota delegation here to feel what it's really like to be at the Olympics. We caught Joe O'Neill and his wife Nancy checking into the delegation suite.
Our apartment looks over the Olympic Plaza, which is really exciting, where the award ceremonies are every night, and it's very exciting to be here.
O'Neill is the former chairman of the St. Paul Chamber of Commerce and was instrumental in bringing next year's NCAA Final Four hockey to St. Paul. It's figured that he and others, like David Cox, CEO of Kohl's Media, could help with pledges of money toward the '96 Summer Games. And Cox seems convinced that this is much more than a pipe dream.
I've been surprised. I was, like everyone else at first, said, gee, can we do it? Do we have the facilities? And we do. And we can do it.
They're walking around Calgary now with the Minnesota delegation's uniform blue coats, getting a lot of attention. They're hoping the beauty of the Twin Cities will get a lot of attention with an Olympic bid. But then the Olympics would bring in a lot of money, too.
The first calculations or estimates are about $800 million direct impact and another $1.7 billion indirect impact. That's $2.5 billion.
The most important thing of all, though, they say, is not something that you can hold in your hand and project with numbers. The most important thing, they say, would be the fact that people from all over the world would know about the Twin Cities, and they would think of us when they think of the United States. So that's what they're working very hard for up here. Wendy?
All right, they got a big job ahead of them, but I think they've made some headway here. Thanks, Mike. All right, Ruth, coming up a little bit later on, we're going to tell you about a polar bear invasion that's happening here in Calgary. It's sort of a polar bear invasion. We'll tell you all about that in just a little bit.
Okay, we look forward to that. Thank you, Wendy. We'll see you in a little while. Leaders of the Northwest Flight Attendants Union say they will not go to the bargaining table until they complete a strike authorization vote by their members. Now, some flight attendants cast their votes today at a table set up by the union at Twin Cities International Airport. The union is threatening to go out on strike a week from tomorrow. A federal mediator has scheduled a bargaining session for tomorrow morning. Northwest says it will attend, but the union says it's not ready to go back to the table.
The company is taking a hard stance, take it or leave it attitude, not bargaining in good faith. That's why we do want to get our strike vote, show them that we are serious, and hopefully they'll come back and bargain in good faith, which they haven't so far.
The Flight Attendants Union needs a 2/3 majority of its members to call a strike. The union leaders say the results of the vote will be made public next Monday. Coming up next, Dr. Michael Breen resumes his series on AIDS.
And tonight, Dr. Michael Breen explains how the AIDS tragedy affects people who would not expect to be affected.
Here's the most incredible offer ever. We'll pay off your personal credit cards up to $3,000 when you buy any new or used car in stock at McKay Lincoln Mercury and Coon Rapids Chrysler Plymouth. Why pay as much as 21% interest on your credit cards when you can have the new car you want now, and we'll pay off your bill? Bring your credit card or loan statements and we'll pay up to $3,000. But you must act now. Hurry to Coon Rapids Chrysler Plymouth and McKay Lincoln Mercury in Coon Rapids.
So come to Dayton's 2-day sale. Big savings store-wide. But hurry, it won't last long.
Two-day sale. Big savings. 2 days only at Dayton's. Don't miss it.
When Susie got sick, everyone was very concerned. But her mom took her to group health, where she got the care she needed.
It's not too high, Susie.
She saw her own doctor.
Warm this up a little. Okay, Susie, open wide, say ah.
She received expert medical attention from people who care.
Now this will clear up that infection.
And when Susie came home, her best friend was pretty happy. Group Health. Quality health care for life.
Winter got you down? Think spring with us at the Minneapolis Home and Garden Show, February 18th through the 21st. You'll see over 400 exhibitors. The exciting new Intercept home, another spectacular Kohler bath exhibit, Jerry Baker, America's Master Gardener, on Thursday and Friday, the house with ears that listens to your needs, 3 new Swedish gardens, and lots more. Enjoy a delightful winter break at the Midwest's largest home and garden show, Minneapolis Auditorium, Thursday through Sunday, February 18th to the 21st.
Imagine wanting to have children, but you can't. Well, literally thousands of couples who want to have a baby are unable to because of infertility problems. And although there is help for infertile couples, there's a new problem facing them now. That problem is AIDS. And tonight, Dr. Michael Breen joins us for a special assignment report as our focus on AIDS and those affected by that disease continues. Mike?
Stan, the couples who are now in trouble are those seeking artificial insemination. That treatment is done when a husband is infertile. To allow his wife to have a child, she's impregnated with the sperm from an anonymous donor. Now, the problem is that sperm has transmitted AIDS to at least 7 women worldwide who've gotten that procedure. That's created changes, and most infertile couples, because they pretend to conceive child as their own, are having to suffer those changes in silence.
Sometimes I think that it is a physical need that I have to bear a child. I don't know, I just think we'd be good parents. I know he's a good parent. I think I'd be happy.
Chris's husband, Rick, is infertile, so the couple is trying artificial insemination. But AIDS has created a problem. When an anonymous donor gives sperm like this, that donor may have AIDS, but not yet have a positive test.
That type of thing is a lethal virus. So we're dealing with a finality here.
And you won't take any chances?
None whatsoever.
To take no chances, almost every local clinic, including the one Chris and Rick are going to, is freezing a donor's sperm. Then months later, that donor's retested, and if he's still free of AIDS, his sperm is simply thawed out and used for insemination. But while this thawed-out semen is safer than so-called fresh semen, it's also less effective. Dr. Frank Chernicki.
Fertilization rates are less, and some studies suggest even half. A conception will occur sooner with a fresh specimen than with a frozen specimen.
But Olson adds that after 6 months of treatment, frozen semen is just as effective as fresh at producing a child. That's what Chris and Rick are hoping. But so far, Chris has used frozen semen for 4 months, and she still isn't pregnant.
It is the wait month after month, wondering if this is the time that Chris is going to get pregnant, and knowing the chances would perhaps be better if we were using the live sperm.
I have gotten frustrated a few times before and thinking if we would have used the fresh sperm, I could be pregnant now.
Because frozen semen is less effective, Dr. Frank Chernicki has taken a controversial stand. He may be the only doctor in Minnesota who, despite the risk of AIDS, is continuing to use fresh specimens on his patients.
Everything that we do in life has some risks, and I believe our job as physicians is to provide a service and to give information, give the risks, and have the patient make a decision on whether that's an acceptable risk to them or not.
His female patients have decided that small risk of AIDS is acceptable. The waiting list here is 2 years. A donor comes in and provides a sample that's immediately carried across this office to a waiting patient. The success rate, about 70%. And are you convinced in your own mind that fresh is better than the frozen?
Very convinced. We've had patients who have had frozen inseminations for long periods of time who will come to us where we use fresh and get pregnant right away.
Some studies are still suggesting fresh is the way to go.
Dr. George Taggett, who heads the infertility clinic at the University of Minnesota, disagrees.
And here we're running the risk of transmitting a lethal disease to an individual who is not going to be improved in health.
For that same reason, Chris and Rick won't use fresh sperm. But they're angry. That decision means they may never have their child.
Did you ever think that AIDS would affect your lives?
No.
You know, this isn't a unique situation, I don't think we're the only ones in it.
Now, this week, because of a new recommendation that was just issued in this journal, Dr. Chernicki decided to stop using fresh specimens, and that ensures that it's going to be that much harder for these couples to have children in the future. One more thing, Stan. Tomorrow we talk about how you can avoid getting the AIDS blood test done on yourself next time you're in the hospital. You know, very commonly, people get this test done, and they don't even know their consent is never asked for before the AIDS test is done.
How often does that happen?
A recent study said that only in 10% of cases where a hospital patient is actually asking for consent or having to give consent before the test was done and then getting adequate counseling. So they're getting those things is the exception rather than the rule.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Well, coming up next, David Dahl is here on the update with word on how long we can expect this weather break from winter.
Oh, can last a long time as far as I'm concerned. A bit later, our live Winter Olympic coverage from Calgary focuses on the lovable symbol of the Canada Games.
Every Saab benefits from the advanced technology that goes into our jet planes, our satellites, even our heavy trucks. So why buy a car and just get automotive technology when you can buy a Saab and get technology like no other automotive company in the world?
Now is a good time to buy or lease a Saab from one of 3 Minneapolis-St. Paul Saab dealers.
Heart surgery. To perform it, doctors need vital information. At an IBM scientific center in England, computer researchers and doctors are transforming X-rays into 3-dimensional models of a patient's arteries and beating heart. This experimental project is an example of innovation at IBM, and it could be another way computers help doctors save lives.
Wix Furniture is giving away love seats, free love seats.
when you buy one of these lovely sofas for just $699.98. Your choice of comfortable country style, easy living casual, or elegant traditional, Wix will give you the matching $599 love seat free. And no payments or finance charges for 90 days when you use or open a Wix charge. Unexpected quality, spectacular savings.
Wix, surprisingly Wix.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Splendid.
Last
A little bit of a controversy, though, on how warm it was. Some people say it got up to 50 today. Some people say it stayed in the 30s. But I've got 41. The most honest person that I know of in the Twin Cities.
It's got to be Mom.
It's Mom Dahl.
Yeah.
Mom,
Yeah.
are you there, Mom?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Isn't that an honest face? She makes a great chicken gravy, by the way, too. Okay, Mom, you headed out earlier in the afternoon, and how warm was it this afternoon at your house up there in Big Marine Lake? You live on Big Marine Lake, which is up near Scandia, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, how warm was it?
We left the house about 1:30, and our thermometer read 40, and we thought that was wonderful.
40 degrees. Okay, that settles it. Thanks for settling that argument. It got up to 40 degrees here in the Twin Cities. And, Mom, you can go wake up Dad now and watch the rest of the news, okay?
I sure will.
Okay, thanks, Mom. I appreciate that for joining us tonight. It did get a little warm here in the Twin Cities. The 5-first forecast for tonight, though, has some slightly cooler air sliding in late, but 23 to 27 for overnight lows. It's going to remain mild. Partly cloudy skies in there as well. There's some high, thin clouds right now entering the western and northern part of the state. Those clouds are not going to do too much to our temperature. By the morning time, we're expecting to see still partly cloudy skies and a temperature at morning, by the time you wake up, 25 degrees. In the afternoon, quite a bit of sunshine. We're going to call it mostly sunny or partly cloudy, still mild. Highs 35 to 39. Almost a repeat, Mom, almost up to 40. Southwest winds at 5 to 15. Outside at the airport right now, our temperature is still hanging in there, 32, even freezing. The dew point now at 28, 85% for the relative humidity, a southwest wind at 9, the barometric pressure falling, 29.88. Today's high temperature, well, this is not correct because Mom just said it got up to 40. 39, though, out at the airport. 24 was this morning's low, and no snowfall officially out at the airport. The Birkebeiner this weekend, and that occurs up in Hayward, Wisconsin. It's going to turn a little chilly. We're expecting to see mostly cloudy skies, breezy and flurries. Northwest winds up to about 20, and the starting temperature right at about 24. That race ends in Cable, Wisconsin. So it's going to be a little cooler over this weekend. There is a cold front that's right now poised. The weather maker for tomorrow will be that cold front. It's going to be poised just north of Calgary. Their high tomorrow up around 48. But as that cold front sweeps southward, it's going to be much colder over the weekend, and that will bring down some cooler air for us as well. Temperature tomorrow, though, nice with lots of sunshine, up about 37. For the northern part of the state, for tomorrow, partly sunny skies, high thin overcast, 30s for highs. For the southern part of the state tomorrow, we're going to call it mostly sunny down here, highs in the 30s. And for western Wisconsin, same story, lots of sunshine, a few clouds in the sky, but highs still in the 30s. Looking ahead then a little bit further, for Friday and Saturday, we have the possibility of that cool front sweeping down through, so temperatures cool down a bit. High temperatures in the 20s over the weekend, maybe down to the teens by Tuesday, but that's a big maybe right now.
Thanks, Mama Dahl, for settling that dispute. 40
She's
degrees,
so
that's
sweet.
official.
That's it.
Thank you. Still ahead, we go back to Mark Curtis in Calgary.
And as he already told you, it was a tough night again for the men's speed skating team. Mark has it all right after this.
When you're driving for the gold, you go all out. And right now, your Lincoln Mercury dealers celebrate that same spirit with their Drive for the Gold event. An all-out effort to win your business with up to $1,000 customer cash on select models. The aerodynamic Mercury Sable, the sleek Mercury Cougar, the sporty Mercury Topaz, and other great values. Drive for the gold. See your Lincoln Mercury dealer today.
Highland is having a Moonlight Madness sale with big savings, but it's only for a few short hours. With traffic backed up, I'm getting a jump on everyone.
Get this Hot Point super capacity heavy-duty automatic washer for just $238. Friday and Saturday only, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Highland Superstore's Moonlight Madness sale.
Okay, then, we take you back live via News Star to Calgary and Mark Curtis with more on the sports. Hello again, Mark.
Hi, Stan. You know, I can't figure out what's going on up here with the speed skating once again tonight. The speed skating oval proved to be disastrous for the U.S. skaters. But the crazy thing about it, when you think about it, just a few weeks ago, the U.S. was expected to win a couple of gold medals or medals in speed skating. Thomas was the first man out of the gates. He had a great start and was at a world record pace at the 600-meter mark. But then suddenly, coming down the stretch, he seemed to tire and finished with a disappointing time. It's obvious that Thomas never regained his strength after health problems forced him out of action a few months ago. Not a good night for Dan Jansen either. For the second straight race, Jansen fell, ending America's hopes for a medal in men's speed skating.
Oh, no! I don't believe it. Skating so well.
He looked as though he caught. We should also add that it was a disappointing night for Roseville skater Tom Cushman, who actually had a little bit of a better time than Nicky Thomas, but not enough to win a medal. Let's go to Rob Lear, who was at the race tonight. And Rob, for a team that came in with high hopes, they've got to be going away shaking their heads, wondering what the heck happened here.
Mark, they were practically all in tears tonight, and certainly understandably so. Another disappointing performance for all members of the U.S. speed skating team. And Minnesota's finishing pair, well, they came in the top 20, but that's still far below their Olympic expectations. And after tonight's race at the Oval, I talked to both Thomas and Cushman about the emotions of the evening.
It's a big disappointment, you know. Coming off last year, I thought, you know, I had a real good shot at least winning some medals, and I still do. If everything would have been right and healthy, I think I still could have done that.
I tried to approach it as a race so I didn't get too excited, but once it was over, I realized that I'd skated in the Olympics, and that was always a dream.
It must have felt good.
It felt great.
We all know the kind of week it has been for Dan Jansen, and even Jansen said after tonight's race that it pained him to watch Nick Thomas try to skate, knowing he was capable of turning in such a better performance. Mark?
Thanks a lot, Rob. Nice job tonight. Aside from the speed skating, the top story here today involved the U.S. women's ski team, Pam Fletcher specifically. You talk about a dark cloud being over the U.S. She broke her leg today in a freak accident when she collided with a worker up on the hill. Fletcher was America's top hope for a medal in alpine skiing. The real tragedy is they wound up canceling the women's downhill because of high winds on Mount Allen. They also had problems with the winds at Canada's Olympic Park, and so for the second day in a row, the 90-meter team ski jumping was put on hold. Here's kind of a neat story to end on. West Germany's Steffi Walter. She took all of 1987 off to have a baby, but came back strong today and won the gold medal in the women's luge. A good day all the way around for the West Germans, as they finished 1, 2, 3. California hope Bonnie Warner came in 6th. They also had the men's figure skating tonight. Brian Boitano, America's best hope for a gold medal in figure skating, was in second place heading into tonight's short program. Here's a quick look. Boitano finished second with a long program coming up on Saturday. He leads the men's figure skating now. Canada's Brian Orser won tonight's short program competition. Now, as far as what's coming up for you tomorrow as we continue live from Calgary, Team USA in a must-win situation now in hockey. They have to win these next few games in order to make it to the medal round. They will take on Norway. Also tomorrow, cross-country skiing up in Canmore. We'll be keeping our eyes on Egan's Todd Boonstra, who will be skiing in the men's 15-kilometer. This will be Boonstra's first appearance in Calgary. He hopes all his hard work will pay off.
It's too late to train now. You just have to fine-tune things now.
If you're not ready at this point, you'll never be ready. Is that right?
No, it's too late. You can't train anymore. You have to do that back in November and December.
Well, ready or not, the baseball season is just about underway. Tomorrow, down in Orlando, the Twins go to work. Today, they had sort of just a walk around down at Tinker Field, and the field has a brand new look. They have the world champion Twin sign out front, and the clubhouse, inside of the clubhouse, they have pictures from the World Series, something we can all remember. So we'll have live reports from Orlando tomorrow, much more on the Twins, and of course, much more on the men.
All right, very good. Thanks, Mark. You know, there are pairs of polar bears wandering around the city of Calgary. Their mission is not necessarily to cause trouble, but to greet the people here at the 1988 games. Catherine Smith and photographer Denny Bear, yes, Bear, ran into these bears, and they'll tell us that they are colorful creatures, and they seem to make people smile wherever they go.
Meet Heidi and Howdy, the official mascots of Calgary's Winter Games. They're well trained for bears, but really underneath, they're high school volunteers, students who use mime to get their message across.
It's a lot of fun going out and meeting people and going different places, and
having the opportunity to do this, but it's a lot of hard work too, because you know, sometimes you get really tired and hot in the costume, and you want to get out, and you know, there's still, you know, you still got a lot more to do, but I think it pays off. Yeah. You know, the way. In the end. Yeah.
Lisa Spaver and her team have been making public appearances for the past 3 years. They trade off who plays the bears and who acts as the spotters to make sure the bears don't trip and fall. Heidi and Howdy teams have traveled all over the world, as far away as Australia. The students use their mime training to put on a short show. It obviously didn't take these senior citizens long to guess some of their routines. But the best part of the show comes after the presentation. That's when almost everyone, young and old, gets, well, what else would it be but a bear hug?
Whoa! Oh, goodness.
Very nice, very good, yeah.
They're kind of fun, aren't they?
Yeah.
Did you get a hug?
No. Oh, I'm disappointed.
Some of the students say they enjoy young children's reactions to the bears the best. But Joy Griffith says it's the senior citizens she is most touched by.
I like going to nursing homes and stuff because the old people just look at you like it's the closest they're ever going to get to the Olympics. So they just, I mean, sometimes they cry. And inside the costume, it just makes me cry because it is such a neat experience to see their face and everything.
After the performances, the students are driven back to school and real life takes over. Crowded hallways and homework. All the students involved in the Heidi Howdy program go to Bishop Carroll High School, where they're on independent study programs. These students say sometimes it's not easy to change lifestyles like they do their clothing, but they also say this is the experience of a lifetime.
I think this is something that'll stay with me for the rest of my life. It's something that I'll never forget.
From the 1988 Winter Games in Calgary, I'm Catherine Smith for Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Kate. Stan and Ruth, that's it from Calgary tonight. But tomorrow night, we're going to take you to Nikiska. That's a little town nearby. That's where all the downhill skiing takes place. It has to be one of the windiest places in Western Canada. We'll go there tomorrow night.
All right.
A lot of wind up there.
Wendy, I hope you keep wearing the hat. It's really smart. It's really pretty.
Looks good.
Thanks, Ruth.
Bye-bye. Our local Heidi Howdy guy right here, Dave Dahl.
Thanks a lot, Stan. Yeah. Mom Dahl will be signing autographs at the White Mart in Forest Lake tomorrow. We're expecting to see partly cloudy skies and another mild day on tap for tomorrow. By the time you wake up, temperature right around 25, and then it'll climb into the 30s in the afternoon, still with partly cloudy skies. But then we cool down over the weekend just slightly.
I bet she gives away apple pie, too. We got to go. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
See you tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Tom Krebsbach, president of the brand new Midway Hyundai. Our show floor is empty right now, but on February 20th, you're going to see this car, the Hyundai Excel, the hottest selling import in America. Hyundai has challenged us to sell over 150 new cars this month. We're opening February 20th, so come in and see how much car value you can get for as little as $5,650. We're ready to set new Hyundai sales records starting Saturday, February 20th. See the car that makes